This is how it is. You play these cards. You don't get another hand.
Ain't that the way it is?
All right. 1922 Blues was probably one of the very first songs that I wrote, because I didn't write songs when I was younger. I wanted to learn how to play country blues. That was my whole focus. That's all I wanted to do. I care about writing songs. You know, I went from listening to, you know, like rock and roll music when I was a kid that my sister had, and folk music that my dad had, to just nothing but country blues, and then punk rock. But what I wanted to play was country blues. So I never wrote any songs. When I was 25, my dad died. 1995, I think it was. Then just because of grief, I sat down and I started writing songs. And 1922 is one of the first songs I wrote. It's named after the year of his birth.
Thanks again for coming down to Ed's tonight. I do a song I wrote about my dad.
He was instrumental in like my guitar journey because he bought me the guitar when I was 8, I think. I was obsessed with Man's Lipscomb. Mm-hmm. I had the record out of his collection. Just wore the groove right off of it, you know. And he got me a guitar. 1964, 65 Gibson B4512.
Nice.
I took 6 of the strings off. I couldn't figure that out at all.
Smart.
So the song is for him, and it's kind of made up of like fragments of like misremembered bits of things that I knew he said or talked about.
Great. You
know, talked about his first, like the first car he had was all wired together with no doors, and you know, talked about riding trains, talked about getting stranded in certain towns, you know, getting into fights, he did farm labor right up until he worked at the packing house. So it's just, the verses are just bits and pieces of what he said. The refrain, that's just the way it is something that that's what he was like. That's just how it is. And that's what we got. He was very much kind of a, these are your cards, you know, do your best with them.
Right.
This is how it is. You play these cards, you don't get another hand. So, you know, when I sit back and think about these things, and so songs that come out that have to do with my own life, that start out autobiographical, quickly become a thing of itself. You know, I like this idea of like, you know, you start with what you know because that which is what you have, and then you write towards what you don't know because that's what makes it interesting. I don't trust my memory. That's I use the word misremembered a lot because that, you know, memory and imagination occupy the same part of your brain. They do.
Oh God.
So, you know, it's likely that you're embellishing your memories.
Yeah.
You know, I know I do.
Yeah.
I don't know about other people, but I know that I do. And so I write down everything. I write everything down and then distill that into, like, I wrote a song called Remember Me If I Forget about my aunt dying, which is made up of a lot of fragments of conversations that I heard my aunt and my mother and her sister, my other aunt, sang to one another in their hospital. And the initial version of it was super long, just barfing out these lines. Nothing rhymes, nothing makes any sense. And then like distilling it into a song is just like sanding away all the pieces that don't fit into the song. When it's done, it really isn't about you anymore. I mean, 1922 Blues isn't really about my dad. It's really more about me and my relationship to him, but then at the end of the day it's also about some other character that inhabits this kind of weird, you know, 1920s world.
Sure.
That or not, or you know, I tried to keep it non-specific enough that it doesn't have to be 1928 all the time or 1931. It can be whenever it is, because we all get lost on the road.
Yeah.
Sooner or later.
Remember me if I forget.